So, the fifth thing that I always tell people is content is your job. So what do I mean when I say content? Content is every single bit of text or copy and image that appears on your website. It's all the stuff that goes along with it. So there's no magic button. I always love those one-in-one website commercials. Have you seen those where the person just sits and clicks and all of a sudden the whole page is populated with text and oh, you have a website in minutes. That text has to come from somewhere. And that is usually you as the client building the website, because you know your organization or your business better than anybody else. So unless you have hired a full-service marketing firm that has copywriters on staff and your contract specifically states that they are making content for your website, you're responsible for it. So what I tell people to do is before they even meet with the developer, start planning out what their content's going to be. You know, put together an outline. Think about every message that you need this website to deliver. You can use all sorts of different methods for this, you know, basic text outline, card sorting. You can write down all the topics you need to cover on index cards and reorganize them and see what fits together. You can do a content inventory. You can take all your other collateral that you have for the organization and get it all together in one place and digitize it. And just kind of sketching out what you think you're going to need. Once you've done all that, make sure all of that copy is typed. Sounds silly, but it actually needs to be in digital form. Because you don't want your graphic designer typing things. It's not good. We make typos all the time. And when you're preparing digital content, I always say don't format anything. Keep it as minimal as possible. Of course, I want to know what a headline is, but don't go making columns and adding, you know, fancy bullets and stuff. Because the way a word processor formats text and the way a web editor formats text are totally different. And to undo what you've done takes me more time. So you're just speeding up the whole process for your developer by keeping it clean. The other part you want to start thinking about, and your developer and designer will help you with this, is what I call site architecture. Now, when software developers talk about architecture, it's a different thing. But as far as design goes, it's really, the sitemap is, you know, how many pages you have and how they're organized. And then wireframes are like the basic grid design of your page. Where does the navigation go? Where does the content go? Where do I put images? So you can start thinking about this, but your designer or developer will have a lot of input to help you through this process. But these are things you want to understand before anything is built. And I always see if you can have it in your budget, consider getting a copywriter. At minimum, you could probably hire a copywriter just to edit what you've put together, make sure that it's, you know, web appropriate and that it's improved. But typically, especially with small business owners, you're doing 5 bajillion things, and it takes a lot of time to write content. You're talking about writing; it takes a lot of time. So it might be worth it to hire somebody. They, you know, certain copywriters who specialize in this, you know, they'll do everything. They will read through all of your marketing material for you. They will call up all your executives and all your board members, and they will interview them, and they will put everything together. So if it's a part in your budget, again, even if it's just for proofing, I definitely recommend the copywriter. The last part about content is to not forget your metadata. And what do I mean by metadata? I mean keywords, titles, descriptions, and image alt text. This is stuff that all happens behind the scenes. It was a really hot topic a few years ago with SEO, not quite so much anymore, but it's still part that gets often forgotten. So this is stuff that you need to provide. Again, what are you, the page copy, what keywords are you optimizing it for? What should the page be called? How does that help? All stuff that you're not going to see on the page itself, but again, you are responsible for. So to help you with that, you can do your own research. You can kind of run a search, see what other people are using for keywords and descriptions that are in your space. If you want to have rankings like they do, what can you do? So I usually say run a search for what you want to be found for and see what sites come up. So again, if we go back to our cafe here, so I'm a coffee shop and I want to make sure that I come up for, you know, coffee on the South Shore. And this site comes up. What you can do is go into your view menu. Most browsers have it, and there'll be a place called for source. And this opens up the scary looking code, which is all the HTML that you're going to see behind the scenes. But the part that you're looking for is usually near the top, and it will say meta, and then you can see keywords, description, and title. And so that's the list of that information that they're using. So you can compare, see, is this relevant to me? How can I leverage this? Are they doing something I'm not thinking of that's obviously getting them good traffic? And the last part about content is to proof it. Your web developer is not proofing your copy, they're cutting and pasting it. And obviously the more people you have proofed, the better. There is never enough proofing, ever.